Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's time for more Phoenix Wright Trials and Tribulations. Last time, we finally met Le Tigre face to face, learned also about the Cadaverini family, and things I feel like are going to get really interesting in this court trial. Good morning, Mr. Wright.
Good morning, Maggey. So, what do you think is going to happen today, sir? Yesterday's session didn't go so well and ended on a giant mystery.
That's true, and we still haven't solved a single part of it yet.
Are you okay, Nick?
Huh? Oh, yeah, of course.
I saw that little flash of doubt in your eyes.
No, that wasn't doubt, that was, determination.
Why don't I believe you? It's nearly time, Maggey. You better get going to the defendant seat. Roger, don't let me down, Mr. Wright. I'm counting on you.
I wonder if we're actually gonna get...
A fail.
Hey, Detective Gumshoe.
Quit stressing Maggey. She don't need that.
How did you know she was stressed?
I was watching through the doorway.
Oh.
You look like you lost the case already. Show a bit of confidence, will you, pal? Here, maybe this'll help. Huh? Have you taken up with aromatherapy too? Not in a million years, pal. Don't tell me that you don't remember this thing.
Come to think of it, that doesn't look like one of those aromatherapy bottles.
This is the small bottle that ended up at Turnabout's kitchen a couple days ago. Wow, look at all these little bottles. Oh,
They're aromatherapy bottles. He's got so many they're overflowing onto the floor.
hey, wait a minute. There's one bottle that's different from all the others.
Well, what do you know? And it doesn't have a label either.
And it doesn't smell. And we finally got the analysis results back from the lab. So, what is it? Is it the poison? I'm afraid not, pal. It's medication. Medication?
It's the it's the like eardrop things. It's the things for like the ear. We've been looking for this the entire time. We've been looking for this. This is it. I wonder. I wonder if this was something like whoever this doctor is was the one that set up like this had it. Because sometimes you use certain medications to like and they work as poisons. It always depends on the dosage. Because like there's something I remember reading like if you inject insulin into someone who is not diabetic or does not need it, like you can cause fatal results with that. There's always the infamous, what is it, like the empty like syringe, injecting that into like someone's foot or something like that, or like putting that into a vein and then just doing like the air. It's stuff like that, like I've seen and heard and read about. None of it's practice. So like necessarily using medication. And if this was a way to get rid of Glen Elg, you do something with like an ear infection or cause something like that, but he's so used to wearing the thing where it's like maybe muff. Like that's what I'm curious about. The medication was used to kill him. And it was something that interacted with the caffeine. I'm not sure if this is a thing because I know that there are some sorts of medicines, like if you take that with something else, like I think it's ADHD medicines. And it's like grapefruit juice or something like that. I don't know if it's all acidic things, but it's like there are certain medications if you take with certain liquids, it nullifies it. But I'm sure there are probably some that if you take, it could cause worse damages. And that's what happened. So there wasn't necessarily a poison, but instead the combination with the coffee. I don't know if I'm grasping for straws though.
Yeah, and for ears, topical use only, apparently.
Yeah, because if you take this and then put it into someone's coffee, yeah, that could probably fuck up someone. For ears, you mean?
Yeah, it's the medication Glen Elg was using for his ruptured eardrum.
What was Glen Elg's medical ear medicine doing in the kitchen? But it has the fingerprint. We have fingerprints.
What about the unidentified fingerprints? Anything on that?
Someone screwed up, so they only had time to analyze the contents of the bottle. Another hour and they might have gotten something on the prints, but...
That's going to weaken its impact as a piece of evidence.
Okay, pal, this is it. Make sure your defense is impregnable today. Got it?
Today's trial, I'm gonna expose that guy for what he's done, or my name is at Phoenix Wright. Oh boy, I gotta do this voice. Oh no. I have made an error.
Bakuto's back! Oh no. I got two different voices that are like probably fairly on the lower side because I did edit yesterday's video or the last video, so hearing violas and then realizing how low it is, I'm like, shit. According to now in session for the trial of Maggey Byrde.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
Ready and waiting as always, Your Honor. Sometimes I feel like I shouldn't have made it like very like almost that kind of stuff, but I'm running out of masculine voices. I don't know how many that I have in my repertoire, and I don't want to repeat for like the same like game. And I'm like, I feel like the Edgeworth was really the only one I could kind of pull, and I can't even do that one good. Very good. Then we'll get underway at once. Yesterday, we heard the testimony of Mr. Victor Kudo. He claims to have witnessed the defendant putting a powder into the victim's coffee. However, the witness's testimony was plagued with a number of problems. The marks on the rim of the cup show that the victim drank from it with his right hand. And according to the old man's testimony, he picked it up with his left hand. Thank you, Mr. Kudo. Furthermore, according to the witness's account, the victim was listening to the radio with an earpiece in his left ear. Yet, the victim's left ear was ruptured, which made him effectively deaf in that ear. I wonder if there's gonna be something involving, like, Kudo's placement? Like, he was seated wrong, and then, I don't know.
It's amazing how many contradictions a single case can have, huh, Nick?
Allow me to enlighten you, Your Honor. The world, you see, keeps turning, and we must turn with it.
You've lost me already, Mr. Kudo.
Don't let the mysteries of yesterday mystify you today. Only losers think like that. You've got to change with the times. That's one of my rules. I can't really yell in this voice.
Are you implying that you've resolved these contradictions?
You know the answers to these riddles? The old guy wasn't just throwing seed in here. He was throwing us off the scent. And today, I'll prove it.
Very well. Let the first witness take the stand.
And you are. Please don't give us anything. Please, Godot. Don't do it. We don't need a repeat with what's his face. I can't remember his name from the last one. Mask to Mask. I don't remember his actual name though. I'm drawing an absolute blank to it. I can think of his face, I cannot think of his name.
Oh, bonjour, everyone. I am Jean Hamster, the owner and chef of the Tribulations restaurant. Enchanté.
Forgive me for asking witness, but are you...
The bad thing is I'm like, this is such an interesting case. So much of everything with Armstrong's characterization just feels gross. I do not. It feels so stereotypical and so derogatory, and I hate it. But everything else about this case is so good, and this makes me so mad.
Oh la la, monsieur. As you can see, I am le petit gentleman, no?
On the day of the incident, you were at Trivia Kitchen? Isn't that right?
Oui, monsieur.
Huh?
Everything. boy.
Just get on with the Godot.
Wow, he's totally unfazed. Doesn't anything intimidate this guy?
Very well. Your testimony, please, witness. Please tell the court what happened that day at Tribulations.
Oui, volontiers.
I feel like, I will say, with Armstrong, I feel like I am, like, practicing my French that I have not really done since, like, high school. Or at least a pronunciation.
When it all happened, there were 2 customers in my restaurant. I remember I was experimenting with some new art deco that day. Like having a large mirror between the tables, for example.
Is it the mirrors that reflected everything?
Oui, perhaps that is what the old man was looking at. La cape, la earpiece, and the glasses. He would have seen everything in reverse, no?
I also don't trust this man.
Mirror. Oui, un grand mirror. La most enormous mirror.
And suddenly, the mystery disappears. Like I said, the world keeps turning, so roll with it. Huh. That would explain the coffee cup and the earpiece conundrum. The mirror would have made everything appear back to front.
What the heck? It's way too early in the morning for this to be happening to me.
Now then, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Wait, but if Kudo's, like, testimony is correct, didn't he say something else about being chased out? Like, they were, like, really trying to get him out. So, like, we could include that if his testimony is no longer, like, inaccurate, though. I guess he would have to come in and testify. Which I really don't want to voice him. I love how that's my reasoning. I'm like, I don't want to voice him. We didn't... Okay, there were just 2 customers in the restaurant. And who were the 2 customers exactly?
Me, of course, the young man who died. And another not so young man.
Huh. You were referring to yesterday's witness, I presume?
What about the other man Maggey said she saw at the table? Something tells me Mr. Armstrong isn't planning to disclose his existence.
We need some hard evidence first before we can bring him up, don't we?
I guess I'll just have to try a different approach for the time being.
I'm curious about something. So if there were mirrors, then that would mean he would have to be... He wouldn't be sitting across. If the mirror thing is accurate. Like, he would have had to have... Unless he was looking in the mirror.
You were experimenting with Art Deco. How come I've never heard about that before today?
You are not familiar with the language of interior design, monsieur.
Please stay on topic. Now, why didn't you tell the court about this before?
But I did just a few moments ago.
Excuse me, Mr. Armstrong? This deco you mentioned, are you referring to some sort of decoche? I have no idea what that means.
No, Art Deco. It's a style of design, Your Honor. He's talking about interior design, walls, ceilings, carpet, that kind of thing.
Ah, yes, of course, that deco.
I was trying to achieve a more effeminate look for my restaurant. I was planning the most bold remodeling of that decor.
With what money? You're $500,000 in debt, my guy.
How big of a mirror are we talking about here?
Something about 4 meters wide and, about 2 meters high.
Let's see, 4 meters, about 1 yard. Holy glass at a frame, that's huge.
I was intending to install it on the ceiling eventually.
The ceiling. Was there a mirror on the ceiling? I don't remember.
No, but I decided not to go with it in the end.
What should I do?
Let's press this pressing always gives us more. Until it doesn't. If you really had such a large mirror in the restaurant, someone would have noticed it. And there's nothing about a mirror in Mr. Kudo or Maggey Byrde's testimonies.
But...
Objection!
You didn't ask, Wright. You only have yourself to blame for such sloppy work.
What?
A mirror was delivered to Tribulations the day before the incident.
Really?
As Mr. Armstrong testified, he was carrying out some design changes.
How the fuck are you gonna get a mirror that big up by yourself in less than 24 hours?
And as it turned out, he didn't actually use the mirror instead.
Then what does that have to do with anything? This just doesn't add up. Even if a mirror was delivered to Tribulations, it doesn't prove that it was in a restaurant on the day of the crime.
If you want to doubt someone, Wright, look in the mirror. I'm sure the person looking back at you will be dubious enough.
Huh. So the witness yesterday had seen the victim reflected in a mirror. I'm now trying to think like how he would have been looking at it in the mirror. Like that's what I'm thinking. Normally I'd expect people to know the difference between a reflection and a real object.
Normally? How does normality come into it? That's lame, Wright, even for you.
Huh?
Are you trying to say that if something isn't normal, it isn't possible? Is that it?
Where does that lead the porky-headed lawyer? Oh.
Where does that leave the porky-headed lawyer and the top-knot chick over there? And the ungodly cool guy with the mask over here? Well, Wright.
Not the hair.
I do not have a top knot.
Mr. Godo is correct. Lack of normality is no basis for discounting an argument.
Bien, logic has won the day.
The glasses wouldn't have been reflected. Like, that wouldn't have flipped. Right? Everything? He would have seen everything in reverse.
Ooh.
Hey, Nick. We should take a sec and think about what old CD said in his testimony.
How did he phrase it again? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the same side as the green lens of his specs. No question. You can lock me up if I'm wrong. It was his left ear without a doubt. Did he use the same hand to pick up the cup? His left hand.
If he saw everything he described reflected in a mirror, then everything he said he saw on the left was actually on his right, huh?
And that clears up all the problems with his testimony, I guess. Or does it? It's kind of hard to believe everything's the fault of a mirror, but...
You think old CD saw everything through a reflection?
If he did, it would explain all the contradictions in his testimony.
But that just makes the situation worse for Maggey. There's gotta be something in that old man's testimony. We've just gotta dig deeper.
Okay.
Where...
That is the one thing that we have the issue is... What the interesting thing is it doesn't look like there's anything on his right ear in that picture. I'm trying to find it. Hold on. Okay, so essentially what this is saying. Shoot. It's not between the tables. Because he wasn't sitting, it wouldn't have worked if it was between the tables. Because he wasn't sitting at that one. it would have had to have been on the side in order for it to have mattered. But if it's above, it would have. The witness's statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor. I'm sorry, but I could see nothing faulty. Wait, did I fuck up? Shit, did I do the wrong one? Ugh, must be. Wait. Did I go too far? Shoot, I did go too far. My bad.
Objection!
The coffee cup, the earpiece, and the HMD. Let's think back over Mr. Kudo's testimony for a second, shall we? The boy was wearing the earpiece on the left, same side as his green lens of his specs. It was his left ear without a doubt. So, to summarize, we were told both the HMD and the earpiece were on the victim's left side. Now, if Mr. Kudo saw all that as a reflection in a mirror, it means both the HMD and the earpiece were actually on the victim's right side.
Exactement, you see, monsieur. Now that's as you think about it, it's not so odd, no?
Unfortunately, that's where we run into a monumental contradiction with the facts. If Mr. Kudo really did see everything in a mirror, why is it that the HMD is now on the wrong side of his head? Order! Order! Mr. Wright is correct! If the witness genuinely observed the victim reflected in a mirror, then we would expect the victim's eyepiece to have been over his right eye.
Objection!
Because that wouldn't have mattered.
How bitter. Try. You should have tasted this bitterness. It'll calm you down in no time.
Are we talking about your coffee or something completely different?
You don't understand the way the witness thinks.
How he thinks?
You remember this, I presume?
The I broke the vase. Sorry. Apology lot. I mean, Mr. Kudo's sworn testimony?
Exactly. The old man had one very grievous habit, other than throwing seeds. The more of an impression something makes, the more muddled his mind makes it. And what's the most striking thing about Mr. Elg?
Clearly it's the victim's eyepiece.
And that's my point. The old man strikes again. Mr. Elg's HMD made a big impression on the old man. I saw the earpiece and those newfangled spectacles he was wearing. Oh yes, they were both on his left ear. Do you hear? His left ear. Well, trite.
That's the worst, but best impression of Kudo ever. I didn't even do the impression. Oops. I usually try to, but I'm like, I genuinely, I don't know how I'm doing Kudo's voice.
Wow, I really thought he was old and seedy there for a minute. Kudo's good.
Enough! I must agree that yesterday's witness was irresponsibly rash in much of his testimony.
Bad luck, Nick. Looks like the boil of a contradiction you found is just a rash.
A mirror can't be beaten by a handful of seeds, nor can it lie. So, what exactly was the old man looking at? Fill us in, Mr. Armstrong. Go on. Tell the court we're all ears.
Oui, I can explain. Please, if you will look at the plans of le restaurant. Allah, is everyone sitting comfortably? The mirror, it was in the middle of the restaurant, dividing the two halves. There's only one seat in which you could have seen the victim. That was at the seat of the table next to the victim. That was where the old man was sitting. After the terrible incident occurred, I moved the mirror so it was not in the way. But naturally, I did not touch anything else. I see no problems with the explanation we've just heard. On the table next to the victims, Mr. Kudo could have seen the victim in the mirror. What a naughty little coquette I am, confusing all the men like this.
Don't worry about it.
Don't make this weird, Kudo. Okay.
We can keep up, except for the guy breaking out in a cold sweat over there again.
Ugh, I hate that guy. You said you didn't touch anything else apart from the mirror. Are you quite sure about that? Volontiers, of course. Very well, Mr. Wright. Your cross-examination, if you please. I mean, we have two different bouts of a lie. The first is the fact that he claimed that he didn't touch anything else. So the first thing is, we have the lie that this was found in a kitchen. This was his medication. And the second is the fact that this now makes no sense. Okay. So, run this by me again. The mirror was here, correct? But like, what purpose would that even have? Wait, really? Because I know if I were you, I wouldn't have put a mirror there. It would be in the way.
Look who's talking, Trite.
Huh?
You're obstructing my view, among other things.
This is my seat in the courtroom.
Trebian's charm is that it gives you the impression that you're the only customer. Temporarily placing a mirror in that spot would hardly be in the way.
Yes, it would! Do you not realize, like, that is basically, like, you are creating, like, one-way flows of traffic. So, like, if your waitress has anything to get, you might as well just make every, like, area, like, completely sectioned off. Because you can also still see the other people. It's not breaking it.
Unlike you, Trite.
I tell you, monsieur, the mirror was there. In the middle of the restaurant. Okay, I'm actually not going to press the rest of these. Mainly so we can get going.
Objection!
Now we can use this. Your Honor, Mr. Kudo's words yesterday strongly contradict Mr. Armstrong's testimony. This is the letter of apology that was written by Mr. Kudo, is it not? I realize it looks useless, Your Honor, but this is still testimony.
I guess useless people are really only good at identifying useless things.
What relevance does this scrap of paper have to the trial, Mr. Wright? Mr. Kudo's testimony is actually very relevant to the question at hand, Your Honor. Because it very clearly contradicts with this piece of evidence. And then nope, not that. This. This piece of evidence contradicts with the testimony we have heard, Your Honor. The crime photo. Yes, this photo clearly shows something that theoretically should not exist. What on earth do you mean by that, Mr. Wright?
Should not exist? Sounds like you're describing yourself, Trite.
Now then, if the defense would please clarify its statement. What is something that shouldn't exist? The vase shouldn't be there. If this is where Kudo was sitting. There was one thing that was clearly demonstrated by yesterday's testimony. Mr. Kudo broke the vase where he was sitting, on the table where he was sitting. And yet, as the court could see, there was an unbroken vase on the table next to the victim. Why? Because Mr. Kudo was not, in fact, sitting at the table next to the victim at all.
Objection!
Don't be an idiot, Trite. That's impossible. That seat's the only one Kudo could have seen the victim's reflection from.
Exactly.
There's only one conclusion we can draw from this contradiction. There was no mirror in Tribune that day. Your testimony, Mr. Armstrong, is an elaborate lie.
Mon Dieu!
Objection!
Don't try to confuse the court, Wright. Obviously, the witness cleaned up the vase, while the police were taking their time getting to the crime scene.
Objection!
Unfortunately, Mr. Godot, that doesn't quite work for me. Mr. Armstrong already testified to the contrary in his own words. I did not touch anything else except the mirror. What a great time to actually drink some water.
Well, witness, what do you have to say for yourself?
I was right. There was no mirror in the restaurant that day.
In light of this revelation, we return back to the original problem. Why did the victim have an earpiece in an ear in which he couldn't hear?
You only get one shot in life. There's no turning back. If you want to claim the mirror wasn't there, Wright, then this problem is all yours. How do you explain what the old man saw? If I can answer this, then I'll be that much closer to the truth. I can feel it.
Are you going to be okay? Can you really solve this contradiction, Nick?
There's more than just this one contradiction, Maya.
What do you mean?
Remember what Maggey told us? There was another man at the victim's table. And there was a sample CD on the victim's table. It all flies in the face of Kudo's testimony. And I think I know the reason why nothing in this case is adding up. Good, because I haven't quite figured it out. Other than, like, I have the feeling that Viola was the one who put something in the coffee, and that's probably counteracting some sort of the medication, or it could even be in the coffee itself. Or, honestly, it wouldn't even have to be Viola, it could be Maggey, but if it's something that was put in, like, the grounds of it, and then given to Elg to work with the medication, because why was the medication missing? Well, Miss Wright, let's hear your answer. Yes, Your Honor. The reason behind all the contradiction is his mistake. I'm kind of thinking... Wait, what if it's the victim? What if there was never an ear infection, but he had to get something? But, like, what would be the purpose for the medicine? Like, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's either... I don't think it's this, but I think it is the victim. This case is riddled with contradictions. Yet, there is one very simple answer that clears them all up. And what is that? The incident Mr. Kudo witnessed and the incident the victim experienced were two completely different events. What? Yes, the victim that Mr. Kudo saw wasn't Mr. Glenn Elg at all. It was an imposter. A phony pretending to be Mr. Elg. Obviously, unlike the victim, there was nothing wrong with the imposter's left eardrum. And that's how he ended up wearing the earpiece in his left ear by mistake. A good spit take. Order in the court. Settle down or I'll clear the courtroom. Quiet, Gramps. Why don't you clear out of here, huh?
What did you say?
Right. Are you saying that what Mr. Kudo saw was a setup? Yes. Someone pretended to be Glenn Elg and acted out the whole coffee poisoning. All for the express purposes of creating a witness out of one Mr. Victor Kudo.
Objection!
Get real, Wright. Why would anyone want to do that? Isn't it obvious? The thing Mr. Kudo was most insistent on in his testimony was
The serving girl brought him a
Javicino and then put something in it. That serving girl is in the defendant's chair. I remember her well.
It's so hard to believe, but... There was one and only one reason to show Mr. Kudo this fake poisoning. To show Maggey Byrde in the act of poisoning the coffee.
Objection.
Are you insinuating that the waitress in the old man's story was a fake as well? It's true there were no other customers in the restaurant at the time, but... it's also true that the chef was there. He would have noticed what was happening.
That's right. Well, witness, if your restaurant really was the scene of such theatrics, you would have known about it, correct?
Oh la la, this is most difficult for me.
No, it's quite simple. All you have to do is testify. You are under oath after all. Was there, in fact, a phony at Tribune that day? The defense demands that Mr. Armstrong tell the whole truth about what happened. The defense's request for additional testimony is accepted. You will accurately explain in detail the events in the restaurant that day.
Oui. La victim, the Monsieur Erg, came to my restaurant alone. I remember the old man arrived not long after him. There were no other customers. When we got word he won the lottery, Monsieur Erg became very excited. It was approximately 5 minutes later that the poisoning incident occurred. No, there was no time for a phony to do the acting.
Just so we're clear, there was no mirror in the restaurant after all?
Je vous demande pardon, forgive me, Your Honor. I lied because I wanted this mess to be cleared up quickly.
You still lied under oath, my dude. What you have just done is commit perjury, Mr. Armstrong. I will decide how to punish you later.
Oui.
For now, we'll hear your cross-examination. Mr. Wright, if you please. He took that perjury charge a bit too well. And I'm guessing he'll be in more serious trouble after this cross-examination. Okay. There is one thing that is bugging me. It's the lottery aspect. Because if that was at 1:30, but then the poisoning was 1:30 and 2:30. Like, that much of a window. Like, I feel like you're kind of leaning more towards 2 than 1:30. That's just me. Okay, let's start pressing everything. Was he alone at his table as well?
Oui, I saw him from the kitchen.
Yet the defendant, Miss Byrde, remembers it differently. She swears there was another man at the victim's table.
Unfortunately for you, Wright. Yesterday's witness also testified that the victim was alone. You know, seeing you squirm like that reminds me of a certain coffee's bittersweet bite.
What kind of coffee has he been drinking?
It's not coffee, it's love. It's love that's bittersweet.
Hearing Maya say that makes her seem wise all of a sudden. By old man, you mean Victor Kudo, correct?
Oui, he comes often for my special coffee. I drank your coffee once, Mr. Armstrong. It's special, I'll give you that. It's worth a sip just for the experience. Oh, you make me so happy, monsieur. You are most welcome anytime. I said it was worth one sip, and nothing more.
So old Mr. Kudo arrived at the restaurant around the same time as the victim. Maybe I should ask about his arrival in more detail. Out of curiosity, about what time was it when Mr. Kudo arrived?
Oh,
No, I cannot remember, monsieur. I believe we were told by a witness yesterday.
The gun was reported around 2:55 by a scary old man, sir.
Does that perhaps jog your memory, witness? The incident happened about 20 minutes after he arrived. So the victim must have arrived between 2 p.m. and 2:10, no? Huh. Just after 2, huh? That's inaccurate. Thanks for your help in jogging my memory, monsieur. You are wonderful. I can't sit here all the time and do nothing now, can I? Time of day will be added to the witness's testimony. Oui, monsieur judge. Everything I do it for you. Merci bien. That's French, isn't it? I'm glad at least one person is in a good mood.
He's even humming a song to himself.
This is a contradiction to this, because that would have been announced at 1:30. Let's start pressing this. Did you see him? No, I was in the kitchen, but I heard him. I remember him shouting, "Yes, $500,000 million." Presumably the defendant heard that too then, correct? Maggey? She looked like a poor little frightened dove. And what about Mr. Kudo? The old man choked on some birdseeds and got it stuck in his throat. Huh. Seems like we have yet another incident on our hands. That's a contradiction. And what were you doing at that point? Without any customers, you must have had time to kill. I am a multi-talented woman, monsieur. Sorry? What do you mean? There is the renowned chef, Sean Armstrong, and the tragic poet, Clovis Armstrong. Oh no. Are we gonna get into even more derogatory stereotypes? Oh no. I was writing a poem, an angry tale of a chef with $500,000 of debt. Cooking for a man who won $500,000 on the lottery. It is called pourquoi. It means why. Perhaps I could recite it for the court. Please don't. Yes, there is. Hold on. I feel like we gotta press here. I'm not sure. Because, like, the time... Oh, shoot. I keep hitting the wrong... Because this would have pushed it around, like, 2 something. I want to press this. Because this was at 1:30, not 2 something. I feel like it's here. We'll try here. I'm afraid I finally got you, Mr. Armstrong. What do you mean? At the time in question, the victim was listening to the radio with his earpiece. The show he was listening to was Millionaire Radio. Each week, they announced the winning numbers of the $500,000 lottery ticket. Oui, that must have been the show Monsieur Elg was listening to. I can't see any problem with this testimony, Mr. Wright. I wonder. You say the victim arrived at your restaurant after 2 p.m., correct? Oui. I am sure of it. I remember it perfectly now. I know it was at that time because I had just finished serving the lunch menu. Get to the point, Wright, if you have one. That show is broadcast live at 1:30 p.m. And it claims to be the most thrilling 10 minutes of your life. It's on the air at 1:30. Now, supposedly, the victim made some noise when it was announced that he had won. And yet, I don't believe his cries of joy could have occurred after 2 p.m. Because the show had already finished more than 30 minutes earlier by that point in time. No! The victim we've been told about has been doing nothing but the impossible. Listening to the radio with a ruptured eardrum, catching a show that was already over. There's only one conclusion you could draw from these facts. The victim was an imposter, acting out the poisoning 30 minutes after the real murder. Yes, there were 2 Glen Elgs in Tribune that day. The real Glen Elg, now dead, having been poisoned by the real killer. And the phony Glen Elg, acting out the events for Mr. Kudo to witness.
It certainly seems that way. I mean, if that wasn't the case, how do you explain the time discrepancy?
Quite a performance, Wright. You were almost on a roll. But sadly, you lack the rock-hard foundation of a rhythm to build your song.
What is this? Music Theory 101?
Let's recap. According to your imaginative theory, it's now just after 2 p.m. The phony Glen Elg is performing a play for the benefit of Mr. Kudo. How do you explain, then, where the real Glen Elg is?
I don't believe I have to spell this out for the court, however... At that time, the real Glen Elg was already dead.
That's certainly the obvious conclusion.
Thank you, Wright. That's exactly what I was hoping you would say.
What?
Now, I presume you can prove this theory of yours. And not hit my mic in the process. Can you explain where the missing corpse went to?
The missing corpse.
According to the old man's testimony, there was only one other customer there. If that customer was the phony Glen Elg, then where did the killer hide the body of the real victim?
The prosecution has a valid point, Mr. Wright. If your theory is to stand up to examination by the court, you must provide us with proof by answering the prosecution's question. Where did the killer hide the body?
Yes, Your Honor.
No conjecture, Wright. Let's hear some facts for once. Show the court a piece of evidence that proves where the body was hidden.
Evidence?
What's with the intense pressure in here all of a sudden?
I thought I had him with that contradiction. And he's turned it all around and backed me into a corner instead.
Well, Mr. Wright, the court will now hear the defense's theory and evidence. First, where was the body of the real Mr. Elg concealed? I am questioning if it's inside of Tribune. Because the thing is how do you where would it have been concealed outside? Because we don't have any proof necessarily, but I'm wondering if the fact that this bottle was there is proof that he was inside the building. Because we don't have anything else that proves whether he was inside or outside. That's like my guess. But I'm not sure. I can't save. Hold on, I'm gonna save real quick. Okay, just so I'm on the safe side. I think it's inside of Tribune. I don't think it's outside, because if it's outside, we have no evidence of anything. But if it's inside, we do have the bottle of his medication that was inside the kitchen. That's the only thing that we have.
It would have been too dangerous to take the body outside, obviously. The body must have been hidden somewhere inside Tribune.
Huh, interesting. But where could a body have been hidden inside a restaurant? Perhaps you would care to show the court on these plans, Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor. The exact location... oh, shoot.
Would have been in the kitchen. Because no one was in there. And we found the medicine in there. That's what I'm thinking.
The body was hidden here. I see.
Nice supposition. The real question is, can you back it up? Where's the evidence that proves the body was hidden in that location?
It would be the medicine.
I think, right? Mr. Armstrong, do you recognize this bottle?
No. I've never seen that ugly bottle before in my life. I only use the very best bottles, monsieur. The highest quality, only for me.
Where was that bottle found, Mr. Wright? Interestingly enough, Your Honor, it was found in the kitchen of Tribulations.
Quoi? But I only ever use these bottles for my aromatherapy oils.
But this bottle doesn't contain aromatherapy oil, Mr. Armstrong. No, it contains a medication.
What kind of medication?
I'm sure everyone remembers, don't they? And Mr. Elg visited an otolaryngological clinic and was given medication that day. You can't be serious. The defense of the contents of the bottle analyzed, and I have the lab results here. The contents of the bottle match the prescription that was given to Mr. Elg. Glenn Elg's murderer hid the body in the restaurant kitchen. At which time this bottle fell out of the victim's pocket. Mr. Armstrong, when the incident occurred, didn't you say you were in the kitchen?
Bon Dieu.
Yes, you know what I'm about to say. It was you who hid the victim's body. You did a fine job pretending to defend my client, Maggey Byrde. However, you were setting her up to take the fall behind the poor girl's back.
Order! This is an extraordinary development. Witness, did you murder Mr. Glenn?
Never. I could not do such an horrible thing.
Mr. Godot!
Bitterness. Every time I get lied to, I always down a mug of coffee. That's one of my rules.
Do you have the slightest idea how many cups you've had by now?
Then I like to do the same to the person who lied to me. I'd like to take them down with my empty cup. Listen up, chef. How about a brand new flavor in your ear? My H-deficient friend. Je peux de mon bâton. You must hear me out. It was a chap. Listen to me. Por favor.
Yo hablo español, Mr. Armstrong, and por favor is Spanish.
I'm only going to ask you once. Did you do it? No, absolutely no. Let's hear it. You've got one shot, right, Gramps?
Witness, the court will permit you the chance to make one final statement. If you lie under oath again, Mr. Godot's coffee mug awaits you.
I love the fact that it's like, okay, nope, now we're committing assault in this place. That's what you get for perjury. As does my gavel. Wait, now the judge is saying shit? Okay, this is fun.
Oui, it is clear.
What do they always say in the movies? I got a bad feeling about this.
Very well, begin your final testimony, Mr. Armstrong.
La confession. It is true. I hid the body in the kitchen. A man forced me to do it. I had no choice. I had to go along with him because there was a reason why I could not refuse. But I did not kill him. I swear, you must believe me.
You were forced by who?
I cannot say, or I will be erased.
Let's try a different question then. When Mr. Elg died, was he really the only person at his table?
There was another man.
I knew it.
Maggey was telling the truth.
You may cross-examine the witness now, Mr. Wright. There's just one more thing I need to do. I gotta break this guy and get him to tell us the name of the real killer.
Let's do it.
Okay. What man? Who was he?
No, I cannot say. I fear for my life.
He's really scared.
You'll just have to put the words in his mouth, Nick.
Yeah, you're right. If he won't tell me, I'll tell him. Why would you go along with this man? And what reason would that be, Mr. Armstrong?
You know, monsieur.
Yes?
Surely you cannot expect a young maiden to talk about such an embarrassment.
Maiden, you're a bit old to get away with that.
And a bit too male.
I can't finish the cross-examination without establishing his reason, so I'll just have to prove it with evidence. Okay, so now we present the debts. You have $500,000 debt, don't you? $500,000? Is this true, Mr. Armstrong?
Oui, je suis désolé. I was weak and I borrowed the money.
This is Mr. Armstrong's Achilles heel. And that's why you couldn't refuse anything asked of you by this man. A $500,000 loan from a black market loan shark. And you had no way of paying it back, did you? That's why you were forced to do anything this man told you.
Oui, it is as you say.
Mr. Armstrong.
The tiger. He told me he was going to use my restaurant for a business rendezvous. On the day in question, he was meeting a victim to demand that he repay his loan. I don't know why it happened like that. I just did what he told me to do. I had no choice. I carried the body and lying inconscient Maggey out of the dining area and into the kitchen. After that, I just tried to forget what I had seen.
I think we can now safely say the man who forced your hand was Mr. Fidio Tigre. I do have one further question for you, Mr. Armstrong. The poison of the lottery ticket that were found in the defendant's apron pocket. Was that your doing as well?
No, I knew nothing about that. Making it look like it was Maggey who had done it. I was not. It is despicable.
Mr. Godot, you will summon this Fidio Tigre as a witness. I doubt that can be arranged today, so we will adjourn for now. Proceedings will continue tomorrow. He's here, isn't he? 30 minutes. What?
The trial will go on. I'll see to it myself. I need half an hour to get that guy on the stand. Not a minute more. I want to see this fight.
I want to see this. How the?
Don't sit back and relax yet, Wright. No one knows if that chef is really telling the truth or not. This trial could still go either way.
Very well. Your request is granted, Mr. Godot. We will resume once Mr. Tigre is ready to take the stand. Until then, court is adjourned for a 30-minute recess. Da-da-da! That's gonna be it. We will continue the next part of the trial next time. Hope you guys enjoyed. Yeah, give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more, if you want to see the rest of this trial, because oh my gosh, this is bonkers in the best way ever. But I will see y'all next time. Bye.